Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. You are watching Pam Entertainment TV, and we're just coming in with some legal court and news information. Wanted to kind of continue to update you all on all the things that I have been reviewing. And if you are liking what you see, make sure that you all hit that like button and subscribe. All right, give me one moment. Got a lot of little different things I want to kind of go over real quick and want to make sure that they are there. All right. So today you see that we're talking about Nick Reiner's diagnoses. Has a big impact on his case. Remember, Alan Jackson is his attorney. He has, if you're not familiar with Alan Jackson is, hey. Alan Jackson was the attorney for Karen Reed. He got her murder charges down to an driving while under the influence charge. And so he is the lawyer for Nick Reiner at this point. So what I want to do is a couple of things. Now, before I get into Nick Reiner, let's get into some information in regards to these Epstein files. Oh, child. I haven't been, I have been following it, but I haven't been following it. And it's just it's a lot. It is a lot, I tell you. And so what I'll do is share my screen. So this is from USA Today, written by Aaron Mansfield and Josh Meyer. It said, "Who is in the Epstein file? A look at the latest names." So let's go over that. Let's go over to see who they have, because this has been all the stuff that has been going on within this administration with the picking up of illegal immigrants, ICE, and all of that stuff like that. They have been basically overshadowing what is going on within these Epstein files. This is something that a lot of people are interested in. They want to know the names. They want to have the people, if they have done something untoward, they want to bring them to justice. I know that Congress is chomping at the bit, and it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. They are wanting these files to be released. And so piecemeal by piecemeal information has been released. But what I want to do is kind of go over who is in this information. And if you have been under a rock, I would tell you to go back, do a Google search in regards to the Epstein files, what it's all about, understand who Jeffrey Epstein is, understand who Ghislaine Maxwell were is uh, understand who Jeffrey Epstein was and understand who Ghislaine Epstein is. He is an enigma wrapped in a pair, whatever that little phrase is. But my understanding and from my understanding, and again, these are my opinions. Pam Entertainment TV. They're not always based in fact. They're not based in fact. I don't know these people personally or professionally, but I am going to talk about them. And so we'll just continue with that. Now, one of the things that's interesting to me about Jeffrey Epstein was a person that kind of sprung out from nowhere. And I know in the entertainment business, and particularly in music, we'll talk about plants, their industry plants. He seems like he was an industry plant in the world of business and finance. And he seems to have made his fortune, in my opinion, from having information of the perversive nature of different folk. And for some people, it could be financial. For some people, it could be sexual. So for some people, whatever it is, he seems like he brokered information about people's perversions. And then he kept a file about that information. And I figured that once he figured that if he wanted to move up a notch or not, he had that information. Now, also, it is alleged that he was also working with Mossad, which is the Israeli intelligence service. That is a rumor that is going out there, and in my opinion, it kind of plays out because you're talking about someone who barely graduated from high school, but then he was placed in a teaching position at a elite prep school. Where they do that at? And then from there, he becomes this big financier. And then he links up with Ghislaine Maxwell, whose father, if you're not familiar with him, he was in this textbook empire. A lot of books and things like that, that are textbooks that your children are reading and things like that. He was the person that provided them. And also, if you understood the ladies of the daughters of the Confederate and how their power over American school systems in regards to what schools allow students to talk about and learn about. It's a whole big old thing going on. I'm just letting y'all know. It's a whole big old thing going on. And when people talk about it, it seems so grandiose that it seems like it's a lie. But I think that that's what makes this stuff the truth. So let's get into these Epstein files, or the information in regards to these files. It says here, again, this is an article written by Aaron Mansfield and Josh Meyer. It says, who's in the Epstein's file? A look at the latest names. And the long awaited Epstein files are out, some of them anyway. Now, one of the things about these Epstein files that I need for us to understand, they are heavily redacted. There are pages where the whole page is blacked out. And so I'm not understanding, because I can see that you're blacking out names of victims, but they have pages upon pages upon pages that are just black from the information that they're piecemealing out to everybody else. The long awaited Epstein files are out, some of them anyway, and as expected, they include photos of the late disgraced wealth manager with a long list of the rich, powerful, and merely famous. So there's a lot of people in all these things. Now, a caveat is that people that are in these files are not necessarily involved in the sexual perversions that Jeffrey Epstein was accused of. However, they were around. And I want to say that it's the same thing when you talk about what people initially thought was the perversions going on with Diddy, and then we find out that he's just, he's a freak leak. and that he hired prostitutes to go across state lines and international lines to engage in the prostitute. The Justice Department released its first is that tranche of the files on Friday afternoon of December 19th in accordance with a congressional law passed last month known as the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Well, I don't know how transparent this is getting because, again, a lot of these files that they released, they've been heavily redacted. Former President Bill Clinton is in the files, including in some photos of him with Epstein's or with young women. One whose face is blacked out sits on the former president's lap in one of the photos that authorities presumably found during their various searches of Epstein. Now, here we have, I'm going to go through this photo gallery. Let's see. So here we have, now this person back here, who is this? Is this Diana Ross back here in the back? I don't know if you see it back here in the back. So they have two faces right here that have been redacted. You see Michael Jackson and you see Bill Clinton in this particular picture. Yeah. Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton, and Diana Ross in a photo that was part of the thousands of files related to the Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to scroll down. We see Bill Clinton with somebody in his lap. We see Ghislaine Maxwell and Chris Tucker. Now, I will tell you also that these are also people that we know have gone to the island because they were on the airplane manifest. We see Ghislaine Maxwell and Mick Jagger. Y'all probably didn't see what I see. So here we have Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton, and Diana Ross with two people's faces that have been bleeped out. Here we have Bill Clinton and someone's face who's been redacted as well. We have Ghislaine Maxwell and Chris Tucker. Again, Ghislaine Maxwell and Mick Jagger. Because you have to remember, these people were movers and shakers. They were hosting parties and things like that. They were the people in the know. They were the people who people wanted to be around. And let's just be clear about that. Ghislaine had her because she grew up in wealth, so she had her contacts. Jeffrey Epstein had his, in my opinion, his blackmailing abilities. So these two she was the madam and he was the recipient of the services. I think that she ran underage whorehouse. Here's some personal photos, including some of Donald J. Trump, as seen as a drawer in this image released by the Department of Justice. So this is the drawer of photos. Here is Richard Branson. He's the one that owns Virgin, the Virgin Cruise Line and the Virgin Airline. He owns all this. He's with Jeffrey Epstein. I will tell you, he himself also owns an island in the Caribbean somewhere as well. Some more photos and pictures of different people. Look over here. It's the Pope. And all of these were coming out of a drawer that the Department of Justice had went through. So there's just thousands and thousands of photos. I'm interested in because there's no way in the world let me put it to you like this. If I see who I believe Jeffrey Epstein was, in my opinion, there's just no way in the world that he did not have written information, whether he typed it on a computer, whether he kept a journal or not, of all the people, any type of favor or them asking him to do something. There's just no way in the world you're going to make me believe that he didn't have that type of information. Here's another photo. You got Kevin Spacey, Bill Clinton. in these photos over here. So these, like I said, this is not necessarily photos and information that's coming directly from Epstein Island. These are just photos of people in some way or form that they have been in physical contact with Jeffrey Epstein. This is a stuffed tiger. Mick Jagger and Clinton, along with the unnamed person here who's been redacted. Jeffrey Epstein. And I don't know who this person is. My first glance when I saw them, it looked like the president of Syria, but I don't think that's who that is because they would have definitely mentioned it. But he is someone that looks like he is of either Arab descent that's sitting down with Jeffrey Epstein. So we've got Jeffrey Epstein. We've got they're not mentioning who these people are. And either that's because they don't know or not. But there's thousands of people who have had contact with Jeffrey Epstein. It says a book titled Massage for Dummies is seen in this image released by the Department of Justice. Because you remember, Ghislaine said that Jeffrey liked a massage. He liked when people massaged him. So she was teaching the girls how to make sure that they learned how to massage Jeffrey. So I guess this was the book that was used for that. There's Fergie, the Duchess of York. I don't know if they still hold those titles or not. I know that there's some big rigmarole going on in England in regards to Prince Andrew, who has been heavily talked about within these Epstein files. Here's Jeffrey on a piano. Here's Bill Clinton with a redacted person in a hot tub or pool. Here is Bill Clinton. I don't know if that's Ghislaine, but she doesn't look like she's clothed. And Bill Clinton and somebody else is over here. We don't see Hillary over here. More information. There's Ghislaine in front of Downing Street. That is where the Prime Minister of England resides. Here's some more of Jeffrey, more pictures. This is the infamous massage room. This is the infamous massage room. And there's just more of these things. But I just wanted to go over that the Justice Department did release these photos. They did release these photos. We just kind of went through some of them, and I'm quite sure that later on they're going to be releasing more information in regards to these Epstein photos. And baby, we will get as much as thing. Let me see what you all are talking about. Hey. Oh, this is sad. I don't know who this was, but this is sad. Rest in peace to them. Hello there, Q is not a robot. Is this a list? These were just photos of everything. So they've got thousands and thousands of photos. This is just a small cache of photos that they have. Someone said it looks like the guy from Queen, possibly. We see a lot of Bill Clinton in this one. We see a picture of Michael Jackson and Diana Ross there. Let's see what you said. Wonder who was better, Trump or Monica? I don't. I all I'm gonna say is this. And this is what I heard. This is not necessarily that I know, but apparently men know better a man's anatomy better. So I'm gonna leave it there. But again, I don't know what Monica was working with. I don't know. No. All right. So let's get into what's going on in the Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner murder case. So, as we've known that their son, Nick, has been arrested for pruning them from the timeline. It is my understanding that Alan Jackson is going for a not guilty plea by reason of insanity. So there's a lot of information that has come out. What I'll do is sift through the information as best I understand it, and then we'll get to the articles that are talking about this. So this is a Rolling Stone article, but from what I understand from reading the information, is that the defense is working on a not guilty by reason of insanity, and their reasoning is the fact that Nick was diagnosed with schizophrenia well before the allegedly pruning his parents from the timeline. Now, why is this important? They're saying that because he had this diagnosis plus coupled with substance abuse, they are talking about the fact that prior to the pruning of the timeline of the Reiners, that he has had several different medication changes. He has shown very erratic behaviors, and they do point to the fact that when Nick was at the Christmas party that was hosted by Conan O'Brien, depending who you talk to, that he did exhibit some very erratic behaviors, that his parents were trying to kind of talk him down, or talk him through these things. They are saying that his medication, because the one thing that we do know, particularly about schizophrenics, and particularly about people who have bipolar, you're always tweaking their medications. Sometimes a medication can work for them for 2 years, and then 2 years and 3 days it no longer is effective. You got to try something different. And it's my understanding is that they were looking in and trying different medications, but the medications weren't working. And he was also trying to self-medicate with mood enhancers. So it seems like the family is on board with this level of defense. We will see. I do want to go over some information from the last time that I reported on this case. So the Reiners break their silence. So these are the two sisters and brother that he has. It says the son and daughter of Rob and Michelle Reiner have broken their silence days after their sibling Nick allegedly pruned from the timeline their parents. Jake and Romy Reiner said in a statement first obtained by TMZ, words cannot even begin to describe the unimaginable pain we're experiencing every moment of the day. The horrific and devastating loss of our parents, Michelle and Rob and Michelle Reiner, is something that no one should ever experience. They were not just our parents, they were our best friends. We are grateful for the outpouring of condolences, kindness, and support we have received, not only from family and friends, but people from all walks of life. And here they are. This is Jake and Romy Reiner. We now ask for respect and privacy, for speculation to be tempered with compassion and humanity, and for our parents to be remembered for the incredible lives they lived and the love that they gave. Now, it is my understanding that that Sunday the Reiners were supposed to meet with the Obamas in regards to some Democratic Party business, if we can just put it there. So that is what the statement from the family. There is some new information showing that let's see, that show Nick walking to a hotel presumably after the murders. Let's see if we can just restart it. Says new footage shows Nick Reiner walking around Santa Monica hours before his parents' bodies were discovered in their Brentwood home. He is heading toward the hotel he checked into, and so they obtained video footage, and we're just going to review it really quick. Let's just hope it doesn't.
Okay. Come to DS.
We'll let these commercials play. So they have another picture right here that they're doing, but like I said, we're going to definitely. Ugh. So let's start it back over. And this person right here, yeah, that's supposed to be Nick. He's just gallivanting around the street. He's just, doesn't look odd at all. He's just walking up and down the street. Well, he looks like he's limping too. Am I just catching that? He looks like he's limping. All right. And let's get to this video. We might have to see a commercial. I'll just cut the sound off.
In my first pregnancy, I gained 65 pounds. My doctor said I needed to lose the weight. She said that I should look into GLP-1 medication. With Mochi Health, I've lost 30 pounds and it feels amazing. Check out joinmochi.com.
So we'll see this one. Let me see.
Sweepstakes where I can win.
We'll let this commercial play and then we will talk about what we see. Then we see him crossing the street. Now, before that last picture, it looked like he had a limp. Interesting. Nothing too drastic. The video was shot around 4 a.m. Sunday, and Nick looked like he's carrying a black backpack and wearing a hat, just like the video we obtained of him at his Brentwood gas station earlier that evening. We don't know if this video of Nick was shot before or after he allegedly pruned his parents from the timeline.
Come to DSW for the shoes.
What we do know is that he checked into a hotel approximately 6 minutes after he's seen in this footage. Sources with direct knowledge told us that no one saw any blood on him when he arrived at the hotel at 4:15 a.m., which is an odd check-in time. But we broke the story of hotel staff finding blood in the shower and on the bed in Nick's room, and the window was covered by bedsheet. So that's a whole nother story that we're talking about. They also talk about and all this is coming from TMZ and their staff, that Nick Reiner could seem calm and in a daze after after pruning, allegedly pruning his parents from the timeline. When he came to be to his first court appearance, he was wearing what they called a suicide vest. All right, so here this is part of the story that I do want to go over. It says Nick Reiner was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and the meds made him dangerous. So before we get into that, let's see what you all are talking. Now, this is a sad story, but almost as sad as no real coverage of Jubilant Skies, a black man, Grammy-winning opera singer who was erased by his son the same way Reiner was. Yes, and I am going to do a video in regards to him as well because I did find out that a week or a couple of weeks before this case happened, he was also pruned by the timeline by his son as well. So I'm going to do a video in regards to that. Diagnosed with schizophrenia, meds made him dangerous. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia in the weeks leading up to the murder of his parents, and the meds he was taking made him erratic and dangerous. Two sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ that Nick was under the care of a psychiatrist for mental health. We're told in the months before the murder, Nick's behavior had gotten alarming. He had recently received care at a Los Angeles based rehab facility that specializes in mental illness and substance abuse. We're told the facility charges $70,000 a month, and lots of rich and powerful parents send their troubled kids there. Baby, baby, he should have still been in there. Our sources say 3 to 4 weeks before the pruning from the timeline, doctors changed his meds and he became even more erratic. Our sources say that doctors were trying to adjust the medication so that Nick stabilized, but it wasn't working. And in my experience, I don't know if he had shown violent and erratic behavior in the past, but most times, particularly if there are if the erratic behavior and there are verbalizations of harming someone or harming themselves, they will try to stabilize that medication inpatient. So I don't know what was going on. And like I said, I'm not trying to diagnose or be a doctor or anything. I just know that especially when those two things are prevalent, if they talk about pruning themselves or pruning others from the timeline, they usually seek inpatient assistance for that. Our sources say that Nick's substance abuse was worsening the schizophrenia. And again, when they try to self-medicate with alcohol, they try to self-medicate with illicit mood enhancers, um, it does do that. And because people think that, oh, well, you just give them some medication, they'll be okay. No. Like I said earlier, the thing about it is you never know what's that proper balance. You've got to do some trial and error. I am surprised that they didn't do this inpatient. However, doesn't seem like anybody had taken control and custody of him to be able to push that or go through the courts to get the courts to push that. They were plumping $70,000 per month in regards to some treatment, and I'm not sure if that was inpatient or outpatient treatment. They probably will get more specific during the trial. So basically, I just wanted to come in and let you all know that again, they're going to be pleading not guilty by reason of insanity for Nick Reiner. This is pretty much the strategy that Alan Jackson is going to be going with. It appears, don't have it set in stone, that it's something that is backed by his family. So again, we will definitely see how this works out. And hello, hello, hello. How are you? Hey Pam and hey Chad. Hey Donna. Ain't seen you in a while. Glad to see you. Sometimes you have to love from afar. I bet the signs were all there. They were. I wouldn't even doubt that. Those signs are there. Uh However, that was their child. Regardless of the age that he was, that was their child. They considered that they were helping. They probably thought that some of the tactics that they had used earlier would work. Not necessarily seeing that there was a level of escalation, particularly from the party, from when they got home and all of whatever was happening. Not seeing that the escalation had happened there. Uh, and yes, I do believe that sometimes you do have to um, love him from afar. I just probably think that they didn't think he was as dangerous he was, and they underestimated the danger level, and it had some very adverse consequences. Some very adverse consequences. So we will see. We will definitely see. What do you all think about this? Do you think that the prosecution will come through some sort of deal? Because it is my understanding that the death penalty is on the table for this. We will see. We will see. The death penalty is clearly in this. I don't know if his mental illness will take a thing, and I'm not sure how long ago he was diagnosed with the schizophrenia. If he's been diagnosed with schizophrenia for at least 2 to 3 years, it may impact heavily. If it's something that he was just recently diagnosed with, I don't know, but it is reported heavily that he has had a substance abuse problem for some years now, because I understand that he had completed a movie with his father that talked about uh substance abuse. So we will definitely see. She said, "My prayer." Donna says, "My prayer to the siblings." The daughter told the cop, I think it was my brother." Yeah, that lets me know she witnessed some violence with him toward her parents. My opinion. I will tell you. I think that he probably has done. I think that he was probably volatile for a very long time, and it probably has manifested, and it was probably something that they had been able to manage as a family. However, as they get older, because he was 32, they were in their late 60s, late 70s, respectfully, and unless that they had something that whether they could have pruned him from the timeline. I don't think, and again, I don't know if it was a sneak attack, like he snuck up on one and then he snuck up on the other. I don't know exactly how it worked out. uh but we definitely, I guess, we'll hear about it as the trial comes on, unless the prosecution comes to a kind of deal with them. I'm not really sure, but he should be getting an exam, a mental health exam in prison. And so if he gets one of those and they're looking at his ability to stand trial, if it tells that he's not cognizant or to ability to stand trial, uh that might be the end of this, until he till a doctor deems him fit to stand trial. So we will see. We will see. They go back in January for, I guess, the official arrangement. This will give some time for the mental health field, the mental health providers to get in there and to evaluate him and all of that. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I will tell you all, and to be very, very clear, if you're dealing with someone who has any types of mental illness, when you talk about plans of actions, for these people, for your loved ones. uh Make sure that you have some kind of plan of action or something in regards to these levels of violence that they're experiencing, and not kind of say, oh well, it's just because he's this, he doesn't mean it. Because it'll be too late. You cannot mean it. And I don't know if he's hearing voices. I don't know if anything is going, whatever is going on with his diagnoses of schizophrenia. I'm not going to try to figure it out, but it's so very important that you protect yourself, even if it's something that you have to get them um, committed. And I think a lot of times we don't want to do that because we don't want them angry with us. But, ooh, child, this is a lot. His therapist told the parent he is a manipulator. The parent disregarded. I wish they would have listened. I think he'd been planning to end them for a long time. That is why he went to the party in a hood. He wanted to embarrass his parents before he ended, my opinion. Could be, could be, could be. I don't know. And I won't even profess to because the thing that I do know about mental illness and things like that, we can have all of these scenarios and things like that, but we just don't ever know. But I am going to do a video on Jubilant Sky. I'm going to do a video of that in his case to kind of update us on what's going on with there, because again, mental illness knows no race, no creed, no sex, no gender or anything like that. And anything that we can do to research and to protect ourselves and things like that, I think it's so important. So, a mess. It's sad all the way around. So, tell me what y'all think. What are y'all thinking about these new Epstein pictures? Child, let's talk about these new Epstein pictures and files. What do you think is going to come out? What's going to come out? Who's going to be in these files? Cuz people are like, "Oh my gosh, there's so many. I want everybody. I don't care, my opinion about these Epstein files. I want everybody who is in there and everybody who has had contact with minors perversely. I need for some case or something to go on with you in regards to that. I want and I don't care what side of the aisle that you fall on. I don't care. If you're doing something perverse, you need to be exposed. Same, you need to be exposed. And I in my opinion, a lot of these people who are in office, a lot of these people who are in positions of power, whether they are pastors, preachers, imams, clerics, uh CEOs, therapists, head coaches, I don't really care what position. There are a lot of perverse people that are in these specific positions, and they use these positions to hide behind. In the black community, there are a lot of folks, they hide behind Big Mama and them. And they're able to get away with a lot of stuff, and people are not checking. So sometimes you got to have your own type of uh I won't say that. No, I won't say that. What I would say this is that it's very important that you need to protect yourself, uh, physically protect yourself, and also protect your peace. And that means that you cannot be worried about somebody being worried about somebody went into a mental institution, or somebody was diagnosed with a mental illness, or you see somebody being violent toward their family, their grandparents, their parents, their siblings, or anything like that, and you act like it doesn't mean anything. It does. It means a lot. And you need to handle it then, and stop trying to think that you're going to handle it in house. Stop trying to think that uh, uh, if you follow some kind of religious tenet, that's going to cure them. You nothing can cure that. Nothing can cure that. Then you need to make sure that you're using all resources that you need to use to be able to protect yourself. And we should not be living in any type of delusional state that if someone is in the middle of a psychotic break, that we can assist them. A lot of us are just not equipped for that. And I just be that's just real deal Holyfield on that. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. I'm going to follow this too because I think it's going to be interesting in regards to how Alan Jackson used this insanity defense. Because you see that I think that that's what they're going to use. They're not going to try to say it was some unknown person that did this. I really do think that they're going to be using that defense, and I don't, it's really going to depend on what the professionals are going to say about him before they go to court next month. So we'll see. I think the most important thing is being right with your creator. No day is guaranteed. Make sure the loved ones know you were loved. Yes. I think that that's very important. I think that's important. I also think that you need to know your limits. And stand firm in knowing what your limits are, because a lot of times we think that we can assist somebody, or we know your limits, understand what your limits are, and don't let anybody, because I know a lot of times too people will try to guilt you into assisting people that are dangerous, whether they be your brothers, your sisters, your mama, your daddy, your grandparents, your cousin, and them. People will try to guilt you in try to assist them, and you know you're not equipped. And be okay with bowing out gracefully, because a lot of times we can't help people. We've got to let the professionals, we got to let the people who can help people help people. All right, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. Thank you, Q.